Welcome back, guys. Hope you're doing well. So just continuation, working with the feminine, which is really good. I never know what's coming each week. As I explained, I think it's still going to go for a few more weeks. So the female reproductive systems come through. Very interesting. We're going to do a live activation today as well. And I'll explain that when we do it. The main thing is that the pattern of, if you look into the consciousness of the energy at the moment, if you look into the masculine and particularly human men at the moment, there is this acknowledgement of the feminine power, and it's putting some of that masculine energy in a sort of pause, shall we say, because there's that transition of rebalancing going on at the moment. But what's happening in people that are not aware or not opening, what's happening is that ego is getting stronger and it's trying to ground itself even more. It's that stubbornness. But when you look through it and you look at most men, you look through that hard persona, you just see the scared little boy in there. And that is what they've been trying to deny for so long. So there's a lot of unconscious balancing going up at the moment because the masculine has to surrender to the divine masculine before it can surrender to the feminine, because it has to come back in alignment with the universal principles. And then when you look into the feminine, it's the wave of abuse, the deep abuse patterns, which have caused a lot of obviously anywhere to do with the lower back or sacral, ovaries, womb area, the abuse is going to sit there. Okay, so that's going to come up. This activation we're going to do is going to bring some of that to the surface in some people. Now, regardless if you don't have your period, this activation hopefully will bring that back into alignment for you. And I've seen it many times over the years doing healing. And some people only need one treatment and it all sort of starts to flow again. But even if the main thing is that being out of alignment with the cycles of the moon, which is what this activation is all about. And this channel message that I'm about to read will give you a bit more of an understanding of how that works unconsciously. So the activation will either sort of hopefully trigger the period in women that don't have periods or sort of intermittent. But the main thing is to also bring people into alignment with the moon, so that the emotional energy that it gets released monthly can come into alignment with the earth and the moon, and the frequencies of the planets, because everything, it's like the shore. If you're trying to swim against the shore, it's going to be a lot harder than going with the shore. So it's the same analogy really. So you need to flow in the ebb and flow in the cycle of the moon and the earth, and then of course the water, which is very connected to the emotional body, which is also very instrumental in the release that women feel each month. So I'm going to read the channel message straight away because I want to do the activation. There's not too much more for me to say on this subject. The main thing is the activation today and the message. So I'll get straight into that. Okay, so this was channeled yesterday. So the cyclical nature of the reproductive system has been compromised by the misalignment with the moon, and we are seeing this across your planet, creating a huge imbalance with this alignment, and it's causing havoc in the emotional body and the throat chakra. Many moons ago, excuse the pun, in the ancient days, a ceremony to honour life was a weekly occurrence, and each moon phase was honoured respectively. The sacred honour of the feminine cycle is critical to a balanced emotional body, and with the increase in toxins ingested through allopathic medicine, these chemicals are affecting the hormonal cycle, which puts some pressure on the immune system. If you don't release the blood, you are actually holding on to emotional energy that, when suppressed, creates more problems. There must be a conscious effort now by human females to align with their natural cycles and to honour the Earth Mother. Because as you release blood from the human body, so does the earth body remove her emotional energy, and hence you are aligned with the moon and the earth cycles. Once this occurs, the period should be smoother in the individual with less intensity. Females can react through their period because the amount of emotional charge trying to release isn't in alignment with the earth-moon cycle, so it doesn't flow, which can lead to anger, mistrust and dislike, etc. If you breathe into the pain, you are honouring your own experiences, because in truth you have all created your own lives of drama, trauma, and of course love and happiness. No one else is responsible. If you project anger towards another, you aren't honouring your own life, your own experience. This is a broad and varied message. However, this is the foundational truth to the human feminine cycle. It would be good if you are conscious of ancient trauma within your subconscious, so at the time of the monthly release, you can set the intention to release it. You may experience more pain at the beginning, however, that is the greatest gift, because it can only be released once it's felt and acknowledged. There is the subject of abuse that we cannot pass over, and we feel over this next year, the abusive patterns will start to arise for release in the feminine population of those consciously working on themselves. Because union must be brought back into balance, and that is the feminine also releasing the male patterning of abuse. Females need to come into balance with the masculine just as much as the male force on the planet has to surrender to the divine masculine so it may come into alignment with the divine feminine. The abuse in human females sits in the womb and ovaries, and this is a time to honour those organs and to give them space to heal and transform. You cannot heal yourselves through the intellect. You must surrender to the feelings with gratitude, so your soul can perform the transformation you so desperately seek in your hearts. Once you align to the moon, you will feel a sense of connection with a stronger sense of empowerment. Okay, so I'm just going to tune in now. We're just going to do this live activation. So just set the intention now, regardless, because even if your cycle's fine and you're with the moon and stuff, everyone has ancient abuse patterns. So this is going to work at many levels, and the intention alone will create the space for the soul to move into your energy field, regardless if you watch this even a year from today, it doesn't really matter. And when that energy comes in, the frequency that we're going to channel now will still work on you, doesn't matter where you are, so it doesn't have to be live. So like the when we did the COVID removal of the smallpox, it's the same thing. So it's going to be very similar to that. So this will either bring things, we'll get the period moving, it will get you into the cycle of the moon, it can bring up the trauma, but this will bring it up in a way where you can start to handle it in a more subtle way, so it's not overpowering. Because obviously you see it come up, and I work a lot with females anyway, so I see a lot of the trauma come up, and it causes a lot of physical and emotional pain at the surface. Okay, so I'm just going to close my eyes, I'm just going to tune in. So if you're live now and you want to do this now, just close your eyes, just relax. I'll just give everyone a second just to sort of, I know there's a few people on live, just give you a few moments just to relax and just breathe and just release any tension, and just try now to come in the full now present moment. Now in the Diamond Light teachings that we teach, Jennifer Starlight stuff that we also teach in the alignment modality, and her guide Aman Min that brought through the activations and numerology gave us this brilliant chart, and the moon sits in the base chakra. Okay, the base chakra will affect the sacral chakra, and actually Mercury sits in the sacral chakra. So what we're going to do is we're going to just breathe through the coccyx area, and we're going to evoke the consciousness of the moon, the pure consciousness of the moon. So just set that intention now. Also be conscious of what you need regarding the period, if it's to come into alignment or if it's to actually have a period. And of course your soul will create the space to bring up the ancient trauma of abuse. And the moon is there to assist you. It'll also sharpen your intuition and psychic skills because it also brings that gift. It also brings the gift of highlighting the shadow self. So the shadow self is also the denied, repressed trauma of abuse. So the moon has tremendous qualities and gifts to give human beings. And now just bring your awareness to your 2 ovaries. And I'm being shown the best way to do this through the imagination for each individual is to imagine there's a wall between the 2 ovaries. And I want you to start dissolving that wall. And imagine the moonlight burning into the wall. As it's in the sacral chakra. Almost like it's creating a pyramid. So the moon is at the head of the pyramid, and the 2 ovaries, and you have this triangle of light. And just sit there and hold that in your imagination. That's all you need to do. Because the intention alone creates the transformation. All we're doing through this imagination is helping our 3D minds connecting with it to make it real. But in truth, you just need the intention. You just need to sit there and the soul will do the rest. So you're just creating space now to allow this to happen. Don't forget the soul knows what you need. Everything happens in surrender, observation, acknowledgement. The more you can keep your conscious mind out of these types of healings and activations, the more powerful they become. And if you're aware of any abuse in your life, just acknowledge it. And if you're ready to release the ancient trauma, set that intention now and just ask the soul to start bringing that forward. And now feel and imagine that moon, that moonlight glowing through the ovaries, through the womb, as it extends its energy up from the base chakra into the sacral chakra. And just hold the vision of the moon there, bright, loving and powerful. And just ask the moon now, because you can talk, the moon is a conscious living energy force. To work with you through your subconscious, through the unconscious. To assist you to release all of that within your shadow self. All the denied, repressed trauma. Right. So maybe do that a couple of times. If you're very, this is something that's really important for you, do it a few times, because it just allows you to connect in with that consciousness and start working with the moon a bit more, because it will start to bring everything that you can't see subconsciously up to the surface. Because it's really important, because these messages that we're bringing through now is collective consciousness. So the more people that are doing it, obviously it's better for your individual life, but the more people that are doing it, we're actually honouring what Creator or the forces of light, their intention, because all this has to come into balance anyway. We can't shift our 3D consciousness until this is acknowledged, and it just needs acknowledgement, and then it will come to the surface naturally. And then you just have to be an observer of what you're feeling. And the main problem is most people get caught in the story of when things come up. Why is this happening? It's not about the why. It's irrelevant. You can't even remember half of, even a quarter or of 1%, should I say, of our multi-dimensional experience. Only a few people have access into that or can really see. But again, that's all distraction. What we need to be focusing on now is the ancient trauma that needs to come up for release. Because in the next 6 months, people are going to go back out, they're going to try and live their old life, and it's going to hit them again. Especially in England now, things are starting to open up. By the end of the year, people are going to come back into, there's something really wrong here with me, personally, with yourself, I mean. Because it can't be denied anymore. So this is going to be a very interesting year. The chaos will continue for a little bit longer, but that's all good, because it's giving us the time to transform what we need to transform. So hopefully another, I'm sure another message will come through as part of this feminine streak that we're doing. So see how you go. Please give your feedback once you've done the activation, if anything shifts for you. And just share your stuff on the group. That'd be great. All right, guys, thank you very much, and I will speak to you all again soon. Thank you.